So this is Andrew Stanton's John Carter. Simply John Carter, by the way. Disagree with
John Carter.
I would have preferred John Carter of Mars, personally.
Really big mistake, yeah.
Mars was a working title at one point, but John Carter of Mars, I think, just feels better to me. But by the way, that intro, Levi, I might just cut that so you just go... and then no words. And then play the intro. John Carter?
Please.
But yeah, this, I know almost nothing about Edgar Rice Burroughs, John Carter, or his Barsoom series of novels or stories. I don't know if they're short stories or novels, but I know almost nothing about the core property. But I do know this movie as being kind of an important beat in recent movie history, in that it was a disaster from a financial standpoint. That's kind of its legacy. Almost nothing about the movie is remembered except for how much money it cost and how much money it lost. Came out in 2012, so this is post-Avida, a couple years post-Avida, and also came out kind of like a perfect storm of like bad timing, in addition to its obscene costs. Cowboys and Aliens also came out around this time, so kind of a pulpy comic book based movie that also, as far as I know, didn't do so hot. And also Disney had major investment, obscene investment in I believe it was the fourth Pirates of the Caribbean film, which I think I mentioned it talking to you not that long ago, Levi. I always forget just how freaking expensive that movie was. Like, it's insane. I don't know where the money went, because I remember saying to myself the first time I watched it, this movie looks cheap. And then you look at the numbers and it's like, what? Like Johnny Depp's wine fund, I guess. But apparently it was an incredibly expensive film. And then you have this one coming out maybe even the same calendar year or very close to it. And it's like, okay, so you have these gigantic productions that absolutely cannot fail. One of them's going to fail. It's just simple numbers. It's going to happen. But yeah, Levi, though, I'm guessing, being as you proposed this and you're familiar with literary works of Edgar Rice Burroughs, what's your connection to John Carter? Like, perhaps like divorced from the movie itself? Like, maybe that's a better starting point.
My connection is mostly through just pulp origin type stuff, where at some point I feel like for most people that are into American comic books, you hear like, well, you see, Batman is actually a combination of Zorro and the Shadow. Like, these are the literary offspring. Like, he's the offspring of these two, like, literary characters. And you're like, wow, that's kind of neat. And then you hear Superman is like, well, Superman is equal parts Doc Savage and John Carter of Mars. And you're like, what the hell is a John Carter? And so it leads you in that direction. You're like, oh, it's the same guy that wrote Tarzan. And so a lot of these books are now within the public domain, and you can pick them up for not a whole lot of money. And yeah, it's just kind of a fun character setup. It is equal parts fantasy, science fiction, and Western. It is science fiction in the old tradition of the sense. Back in in the time where it's like, H.G. Wells is like, we'll get to the moon by firing a bullet-shaped vessel out of a cannon. Like that, it's like very Jules Verne, like H.G. Wells era of science fiction. Long before we had rocket propulsion and that sort of thing. So it's a very unique setting, and my connection is mostly through finding it out about that way and just kind of going forward. There's 11 books in the series, and yeah, they are full novels. And it's just kind of a lot of fun. And the thing is that Tarzan has all these adaptations. The Barsoom does not, because the world that Burroughs creates, as a slight introduction, John Carter is a Confederate captain who gets teleported to Mars, which in their language is called Barsoom. And it is his adventures and misadventures of squaring off with different factions on Mars, getting involved with the princess of one of the kingdoms, and all of the warring factions that are kind of involved there. It is, in modern parlance, it is the science fiction equivalent of a Yankee in King Arthur's court. Or if we want to go even more modern, it is a little isekai-ish.
Correct.
And of course the big twist, and where we get this Superman idea, is due to Carter's due to Carter being under our gravitational pull and everything else. As soon as he steps foot on Mars, he can leap 1/8 of a mile, run faster than an express train, and nothing less than a bursting shell can pierce his skin. Like that. Does it sound familiar?
Yeah.
So this image of a man who is now super strong and super fast and can leap tall buildings in a single bound is very much baked into this character. And that's where a lot of Siegel and Schuster is pulling from. Even if unintentionally, that's where they're pulling from. And it's also, strange visitor from another planet, even if it is Carter going to Mars instead of Kal-El coming to Earth. So that's a lot of my connection, is a lot of it coming from my love of Superman and realizing, oh, hey, this is really neat too. So this movie comes out and I'm like, oh, hey, John Carter's getting a movie. And then I heard nothing about it ever again.
Uh-huh.
And I saw it. I saw it like years ago, and I was like, wow, that was a lot of fun. And then nobody ever talked about it ever again. And this is only the second time I've watched through it. And I realized as I was watching it, because I was making connections, because Disney, and I feel like this is a wider topic for the episode. Disney used to be a company. I feel like we could just put a period there, but it used to be a company. But the thing is that Disney had a very dedicated animation division and a very dedicated live action division back in the day. Mm-hmm. And we got a lot of fun movies out of that live action division, because we got miniseries like Davy Crockett. We also got Civil War tales. We had the Zorro television show. We also got movies like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea with Family Robinson, as well as the more whimsical adventures like Mary Poppins and Bedknobs and Broomsticks. We had a lot of live action Disney, and they were very distinctly Disney. it was a big part of the brand, was the live action division. And that started to kind of die out a little bit as time went along. It became less and less explicit, and then it was like, well, no, this isn't a Disney picture, it's a Touchstone picture. So we had Touchstone living over here where we had Disney's live action division. And then live action kind of got relegated to like the Disney Channel, and that's it. And then there seemed to be a push. Pirates of the Caribbean comes out in the early 2000s, and they're like, oh boy, we can do live action movies again. We can do live action adventure movies again. And then they just kind of did Pirates for a bit. And then something bit them. Around 2010, 2011-ish, they're like, guys, we're bringing it back. Let's do it. Tron Legacy. Okay, that didn't work out. Oh, God. Oh, that didn't work at all. The Lone Ranger. Shit. Okay.
Wow.
We're not. It's like, we're not doing this ever again. We're done. We're done.
Yep.
Goodbye. So long. Farewell. Marvel prints money. We're done. We own Marvel and Lucasfilms. We never have to try ever again. And John Carter comes out at a weird time where we get what is effectively the Silver Age of pulp movies. The problem is that the Silver Age of pulp movies, like our Golden Age of pulp movies, is also not the greatest, but is still kind of admirable. The Silver Age, you're like, oh God. Because in like a 3-year span, we get John Carter, Conan, The Lone Ranger, and the Green Hornet.
Oh, fuck. I forgot about that.
In like a 3-year span, we get throwback pulp and radio heroes again, in a similar vein to us getting Rocketeer, Phantom, Shadow, Dick Tracy. 3 out of 4 of those are kind of dog shit. The best, like, I like the 2013 Lone Ranger in places. It's too long and it's too long and it's a little sloppy. When it's good, it's a ton of fun. When it's bad,
William Tell Overture and Gore Verbinski's visual design, there are strengths there. It's just, it's a bit of a mess.
Yeah, obscenely expensive. And it's that 9-minute piece entitled Finale.
Oh yeah. Fantastic.
That Hans Zimmer does. Unbelievable. Mm-hmm. As like a full suite of all of the different pieces from the score, along with the William Tell Overture that is so famous and associated with Lone Ranger as a character, is unbelievable. Beautiful piece of music. I throw it on whenever I'm late to something.
Perfect.
I'm speeding down the highway to that. It's awesome, dude. It makes you feel great. So yeah, we had a second attempt at a pulp revival with 2009 Solomon Kane kind of like preluding that. Again, also didn't do well.
Funny connection with this one, casting connection.
Yeah, James Purfoy is in this. It was funny. He steps on. I'm like, oh hey, it's Solomon Kane.
Like, what you really? Like, we got you.
Hey, buddy.
Are you a fan or something? Like, must be.
Yeah. So we had another attempt at a pulp revival, and boy, did it not work. But you will note that I said 3 out of 4 are pretty dog shit. John Carter is pretty fun.
I agree.
It's pretty doggone fun. And it not doing well is pretty much laid squarely on budget and the total bungle of advertising it.
Yes.
Because the marketing was horrible.
Yeah, it's infamous for being one of the worst, most poorly managed marketing campaigns in recent history. It was evident there wasn't much enthusiasm from the marketing standpoint because the studio and the talent involved in the production of the actual film believed in the fucking thing. And you feel it, because I agree. This is actually my first time seeing this movie. I knew it, of course, by reputation, but this is the first time I ever sat down to watch it. And I was like, this is actually a pretty good movie. like this, there is nothing wrong with this movie. Like it is a very solid, pretty entertaining movie with a lot of affable performers and performances and a really fun setting. Like it has a lot going for it, but the marketing, they totally shat the bed. Where, as far as I understand, like a lot of the music choices in the marketing, a lot of the timing and the placement of the advertisements just wasn't there. On top of that, they really, really failed to stress the pedigree of the character, as well as the production staff, because our director isn't a household name, Andrew Stanton. However, he is an animation guy, and kind of similar to like a Brad Bird. It's like, you may not know this guy's name, but you have seen his products. And if you pay any sort of attention to the storyboarding or the directing of those films that he's worked on, you will note that this man is a very accomplished storyteller, really knows how to tell a fucking story with just movement and imagery. And of course, beautiful score. Because we also have Michael Giacchino or Giacono. I'm not actually sure how you pronounce his name. On staff as composer. But the point is, they should have been stressing, like, this is coming from some really heavy hitters that you should give a shit about. And that potentially could have sold the product. Again, the title, simply calling it John Carter, that's not like John Rambo. Like, if you call a movie Rambo,
it's meaningless.
Yeah, John Carter's like, who the no, like, I'm sorry, like, unless you have a grandpa or somebody who was a fan of the Pulp novels or whatever, no kid, no little boy or whoever is going to know and derive any sort of meaning from the words John and Carter in sequel. It just doesn't work. But John Carter of Mars, that might work. That could work. I understand from a marketing standpoint, they were catering more towards young boys. So A Princess of Mars, I get why that would get brushed aside. I get that. I think it's a fine title, actually. But if your core demographic is young boys, putting princess in the title is probably not the best way to reach them. Still think it maybe could have worked. But yeah, I was shocked by just how solid this movie was. Like, it didn't like knock my socks off or anything. Like, I'm not gonna like run around telling everybody they need to run out and see this or anything, but I was like, what is the problem with this movie? And the answer is nothing. There's essentially nothing wrong with this movie other than a little bit of a flat ending. But that's not a big deal to me. Like, that doesn't bother me that much. Speaking of which, well, not speaking of which, but I mentioned the composer, Michael Giacchino. I don't know like how much familiarity you have with his work, Levi. He directed the Werewolf by Night short, like the Halloween special for the Marvel stuff. Did a great job. They should be doing more of that.
Please. Yeah,
he did a fantastic job. That was one of the best things to come out of that corner of Disney. The first, just fun little aside, the first time I recall noticing him as a composer came in a really, really unexpected place. Is Cloverfield, which has exactly one piece of music in the entire film, and it's over the ending credits. And it's a composition called Roar, and it's Michael Giacchino, and he works with a lot of people. Like J.J. Abrams is kind of like his guy, and as far as I know, J.J. Abrams was like a major producer on that film. So the two of them have been working together for quite some time. And I listened to that piece in isolation, and I was like, oh, this guy gets it, because it's, Cloverfield is what it is, but then the music that plays over the credits, that composition, is like a love letter to kaiju cinema. Like, it's a love letter to like every Godzilla movie ever made. And I was like, wow, for a movie that has exactly one piece of music, he kind of nailed it. So forevermore, I've kind of like taken notice of him, and he's kind of the closest thing, I guess, we have to like a John Williams in today's music, like film composition ecosystem. Like, there is no heir apparent to John Williams because movies are just made and edited differently. Like, I don't think we have a guy like that anymore. But he does have similar strengths and makes similar like choices in instrumentation. So his contribution to this movie was a big up for me. Where I was like, oh, we have melodies. Oh, it's like, wow, we have core melodies and themes for all the different tribes and characters. I'm not used to hearing that in 2026. Like, movies don't generally do that anymore.
Yeah, it's like we have a lush score. Wow. Yeah. Instead of just like one droning piece of
yeah, or a thrumming synth where it's like in the background throughout the whole movie. This conversation, I don't have it in me to like go throughout like every beat of the movie, but I figure we can just keep this free form. So, cast wise, this movie has a lot of familiar faces in it, and it's a little bit of a mixed bag, honestly. Taylor Kitsch is, I don't think, anyone's favorite human being.
Here's the thing. I like Taylor Kitsch in this movie. I love his intensity. He sounds like Kung Fury.
You're right. He does.
It's like, what are you going to do? My job. It's like, I don't know. I am almost positive that is not Taylor Kitsch's natural voice, because he has this affectation to it where he's like, John Carter, Virginia. And you're like, it sounds like you are artificially like deepening your voice and doing a John Wayne impression.
So,
and it ends up sounding like Kung Fury, and it's really funny.
Yeah, it's pushed so deep into over the top and melodramatic that it does reach those heights. So I just checked. He's Canadian. I was not aware of that. He plays a lot of Americans from the South, I've noticed. He's the original Gambit.
Here's Remy LeBeau.
Yeah, he is the original, like, Channing Tatum, correct choice. Like, especially if you're gonna do a more comedic Gambit. Yeah, he can do it. He can do the Southern Cajun thing. Taylor Kitsch from Canada, maybe not. I think he was one of the leads in Lone Survivor as well. Pretty sure he was supposed to be from Tejas. I think he was supposed to be from Texas in that one. So I think he's typically putting some sort of affect on his speech. American Assassin, he plays a villain in that. And I don't know what it is, but it's like, he never quite fits for me. Like I feel like in every role I've ever seen him, it's not quite right. Like, I have no actual problem with the guy. He's not a bad performer or anything. It's just like, there's just a little something off where it's like, again, American Assassin, he's supposed to be like the big bad. He's supposed to be the villain of the piece. And I'm like, well, he seems kind of likable.
He does well in everyone's favorite action film, Battleship.
That's right.
Everyone's favorite action film.
So I had a tangent about James Purefoy a while back, and the stars align, and sometimes the world just picks somebody. And we all have casting agents, we all have casting directors, and they just really want this guy to work. it's like Henry Golding. Everybody's favorite, Henry Golding from Crazy Rich Asians. And his casting, his agent just was like, this is the guy. You don't understand it. The cosmos don't understand it, but I'm going to keep yelling to the heavens. Henry Golding should be James Bond. He should be Shang-Chi. He should be the guy. It's like, Henry Golding's not the guy. And Taylor Kitsch, it's like, Battleship, John Carter, American Assassin, fucking X-Men Origins. He's the guy. It's like, I'm sorry, Taylor, you're not the guy. And James Purefoy, it's like all these big movies. It's like, I'm sorry, James Purefoy, you're a fine actor. You're not the guy.
in another universe, James Purefoy has a career and Michael Fassbender does not.
Yeah, I would say Guy Pearce. I would say he and Guy Pearce probably got together in a lot of casting rooms and a lot of waiting rooms and just mean mugged each other. It's like, this motherfucker keeps eating my lunch. That Guy Pearce, I tell you what.
It's weird. Yeah, because that's the thing. I like Taylor Kitsch in this movie. I think he's good.
I don't mind.
I like it. I like his look and I love his intensity. Because there's never a moment where where I don't believe him. That voice is a little ridiculous. It's just a little too much. It's like, here's the bar of the film that we are in. And this is the level of performances that people are giving. We are a little over the top.
Yeah.
We're a little over the top in places. Jimmy McNulty is out there just chewing scenery left and right. Like you could see it's like pit beef between his Baltimore teeth. It's like you could see it.
He's not quite full jigsaw. Jigsaw. Excuse me. There's
jigsaw.
He's not full jigsaw, but he's at.
I remember watching Punisher Warzone for the first time and laughing so hard I was nearly crying at, like, why is there an open air glass chipper? Why is there an open air glass chipper?
Because we had
and there's no railing.
Because we had props left over from a Saw movie and we had to Frankenstein together some sort of apparatus, and it looks like that. I saw that movie in the theater, in an almost empty theater with my college roommate, and we had a blast.
Dude, Punisher Warzone is one of those movies where I would not say it is traditionally good by any means.
No.
It is not traditionally good.
No.
But it is a really fun time. Like, you just have a blast because everyone understands the assignment. Not many people like him all that much online. I don't blame him. Razor Fist did a walkthrough of Punisher Warzone, and one of the things that he puts, he's like, what I like about the Punisher is his grounded behavior, and it's not Batman, it's not Super. We get grounded, gritty street level crime in the Punisher, like watching Frank Castle put his fist cleanly through a human fucking face. You just watch him, fist goes clean through the skull.
Yeah, I have a gif of it saved on my phone.
You're like,
yeah, this is cinema.
Absolute cinema.
Blowing up crackhead parkour artists in mid jump with a bazooka. Cinema.
This is why the Millier brothers pioneered cinema. LaPrince died so we could do this.
So Ray Stevenson could put his fist through people's faces, blow people up with bazookas, shoot morbidly obese men's heads off while they're sitting on the toilet. All the best things.
Shoot a room full of men hanging from a chandelier upside down.
Yeah, because that was necessary.
Listen, style points for Frank.
Yeah, somebody saw Boondock Saints. I'll just say that.
Listen, man, I would watch Punisher Warzone 10 out of 10 times before I watch Boondock Saints again.
Here. Same boat.
But yeah, but this movie, like the cast is like, and I legitimately cannot remember McNulty's real name. So I will continue to Yeah. And he does a great job. He's our villain in the piece. Willem Dafoe is doing his Willem Dafoe thing. It's really funny. I didn't even know Thomas Hayden Church was in this movie.
Neither did I. Who is he?
As soon as I heard him, like, he's a bit of the plot, a smidge of the plot here, just for our listeners, because nobody saw John Carter, and so none of you really know what the movie's about. Carter is a Confederate captain. He is like slow. He is out in the wilderness, and he finds a cave that teleports him to Mars after he grips a medallion. That is on a Martian in there. Roll with it. And when he is teleported out, he is found by a race of Martians that are big and green. They got big tusks and forearms and everything. And they're a little bit more rural. And there's all of these different factions that are going to war on Mars. One of which is these guys. Willem Dafoe plays their chief. He plays their chief, and then his second in command, who is like brutal and like kind of hates John for no particular reason, is played by Thomas Hayden Church. And it's really funny because we hear them for the first time speaking their like, Martian language. And you hear them, and you're like, I know Willem Dafoe is in this scene. I could hear his voice, and I'm like, oh, hey, it's Willem Dafoe. And his second in command starts speaking. I'm like, is that Thomas Hayden Church?
Man.
I'm like, is Green Goblin and Sandman in my movie?
We'll meet again, John Carter of Mars.
Dude, it's a weird freaking cast because we have like, okay, we have Gambit, Green Goblin, Sandman, Solomon Kane, Sinestro, or Dr. Savannah. Take your pick. It's like two separate DC villains. Yeah, we got Jigsaw.
Oh, wait. Kieran Hines was the villain in Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, right?
Yep.
Everybody's doing something super. The female lead was the lead in X-Men Origins Wolverine as well.
Yep. Yeah, we got a weird lineup of like comic book movie side characters.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's too many.
Yeah. What's funny is that James Purefoy is literally the only man in this cast that has had a leading role in any of those films.
Yeah, that's a good point. Shit.
But it's like, yeah, the cast is really good. Like across the board, everyone convinces. And yeah, it's very stacked. It's a lot of people that you are able to readily recognize, even if none of them are leading.
Yeah, that's an important aspect of it because it is very John Carter centric. Like there's so much to discover in this movie, like so much about the culture and the land that it has that stranger in a strange land quality that the director seems to understand very well. That's like we need to have a steady drip feed of new information being fed to us through the conduit of our proxy character, former John Carter. But the world is populated by all these familiar faces, and they do have like a bit of fun with some of the casting where it's like Dominic West can't help but be chewing on some form of scenery and being a slimy dickwad. So he's kind of perfect as a villain. I don't think Mark Strange has ever been, or Strong, excuse me. Strange is a martial arts actor, excuse me. I don't think he's ever been asked to play a good guy. Not initially, anyway.
Kingsman.
Yes, Kingsman. He does play like the trainer, essentially, right?
Yeah.
No, he's a very good actor. It's just more often than not, he's kind of pigeonholed as like bad guy. Also, the Brothers Grimm. He's having fun in that. I don't know if you've seen that one, Levi.
I have not.
I think I bungled the title, but Grimsby, the Brothers Grimsby, I think is what it's so there was the Brothers Grimm movie with Matt Damon, I think. But the Brothers Grimsby, I own it and have seen it solely because Scott Adkins has a very small role in it. And it's Mark Strong and Sacha Baron Cohen as brothers. Oh. And Mark Strong is a super spy, like a James Bondian kind of super spy. And Sacha Baron Cohen is his, from an oddly specific region of England, brother. It's like there's a cultural gulf that I cannot cross watching this movie. But it has some of the most outrageous potty humor you'll ever come across. And Mark Strong is doing he is a good guy in it, and he's kind of the straight man when it comes to the comedy. Yeah. Pretty obviously. But seeing Kieran Hines as a good guy is also kind of a weird thing.
Yeah.
It's like really? It's like, okay, he's essentially the Sultan from Disney's Aladdin in this, except for competent. Yeah. and more than 3 feet tall. But yeah, the cast, there's a lot to like. Thomas Hayden Church, now that you mention it, I didn't notice it while I was watching the movie, but the core phrase that always comes to mind, like I find when it comes to like impressions of people or like vocal imprints on people, there's usually like a key phrase that you think of, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, "Get to the chopper." Like there's your core phrase or whatever. Or do you know what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. So, any number of Arnoldisms.
Put the cookie down.
Yeah. Put that cookie down. It's not a tumor. It goes on and on and on and on. Thomas Hayden Church, it's What Does It Matter to You Anyway? From Spider-Man 3. I'm pretty sure he yells at it at Toby at one point. And playing that back in my head, it's like, oh yeah, he was that big green guy in John Carter. Like, I didn't realize it in the moment, but yeah, I totally got that. But yeah, the plot progression of the movie was kind of interesting because we do have like a framing device. It kicks in a little later than you might expect. I was actually kind of surprised that the movie starts with Mars and with narration from Willem Dafoe. Like, I'm not sure how you felt about that, Levi, but I was almost like kind of wanting to be surprised by the jump to Mars. But no, like the very first things we see are Mars, and we're told like, it's not called Mars, it's called Barsoom, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, I guess we'll come back to this in 10 minutes or whatever. And then we get like all the framing device involving was it nephew and John Carter being recently, quote, deceased or whatever. Unusual setup.
Yeah. There's a part of me that would have liked to be a little more surprised. But at the same time, I'm not sure how you set up the Ultimate Weapon and Mark Strong and everyone else. Like, I don't know how you set that up later.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, the Ultimate Weapon is kind of kept a nebulous concept. Like I feel like it's something that they're planning on getting to in sequels or something, but it's just like, it's more just like, this is a powerful thing that we don't want people to know about, but we also kind of want them to know about, but we want them to find out about the way that we want them to find out about it. It's a little messy. But I will say the business before Mars introducing John Carter and his interactions with Bryan Cranston, who's also in this film. That sequence is terrific. The editing,
I love it.
The editing, the timing on it. I was like, actually, that was the moment when I checked. Like I checked on IMDb while I had the movie on. I was like, is this an animation director? Because these cuts feel like an animation guy. And I was like, yeah, he's an animation guy. Because the timing was so snappy and fun.
So for the audience who has not seen the film, essentially we follow John early on, and he's out prospecting, and he's out searching these hills, and we get a sequence of him coming into to get more provisions for it, and they're like, "We're cutting you off, Carter. You're out of money." To which he then like presents after a slight scuffle, he puts a gun to the guy's head and puts some gold on the table, and he puts his shopping list forward. And Taylor Kitsch is in all seriousness with a gun to the man's head, crazy eyes, says, "Beans." The first item on the list is beans. I have never seen someone say the word beans with that much intensity. Maybe Jackie Earle Haley as Rorschach.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Like, I don't know. I just hear beans in that way, and I think Rorschach. But yeah, so Bryan Cranston comes in as a Union officer who is essentially like, who hears about Carter and is trying to recruit him because they need help dealing with the Apaches in the region. And we get about 5 or 6 cuts of Carter trying to resist them and like getting in a quick fight, and then we cut after the first punch or like the first hit of like Cranston's like, "You're a hard man to find," and he immediately turns down and punches them, and then it's cut and they set him down in the chair and he has a bloody nose. And Cranston's like, "Okay, so you're a cavalry officer," is like reading off the list, and he immediately like gets up and punches him in the face, and we cut, and then he's in handcuffs. Cranston is still reading off, and he has something up to his nose. He's like, "Excellent swordsman, wounded 4 times, medals for valor." Carter gets up and he jumps out the window, and we cut back, and he's now tied to the chair. It's so. There are moments in this movie where the editing tells a joke so damn well, and it's very charming and it's very fun.
Yeah, it's really precisely timed. It's legitimately funny, and on top of that, it also tells a story. Like, these are all indications of character, where it's like, we're about to see this guy transported to a different planet and see him thrown in with different cultures and different species and whatnot. And we see that he has that squirrely quality to him, where it's like his first instinct is to resist. Like, he seems to be a character who thrives on freedom, like pursuit of his own destiny. External forces keep trying to square peg round hole him, and his instinct is to lash out and immediately resist. And on Mars, he finds himself empowered to do so. So it's like little things like this. It's like, oh, somebody thought about that. like somebody thought about the symmetry there. And even the bit with him being essentially recruited by the opposing army, by the way. He was part of the Confederacy. The Civil War's already wrapped up by the time this story gets started. He's being recruited to fight the Apache against his will. And then he goes to Mars, and it's like he kind of finds himself in similar circumstances, where he's quite literally trying to be weaponized. Like, external forces are trying to turn him into a weapon, and he's resistant to the idea of it until he kind of grabs his own fate by the reins and tries to wrangle things in the direction he'd like to see them go. So there's a lot of small attention to detail in the storytelling, and that's part of what makes the thing work. is that it doesn't feel frivolous. Like, it feels like actual choices are being made. It feels like the characters have just enough dimension to them. Like, I quite enjoyed the bit with Willem Dafoe's daughter. How it's like they actually conceal the fact that she's his daughter until kind of a pivotal point in the story. You see that there's certain aspects of their culture that's creating tension between them. And there's a lot of parallels between John Carter and a lot of the other characters in the story. You have the princess who's kind of has circumstance thrust upon her, and she's being used as a bargaining chip from a political standpoint to be married to Jigsaw. And again, Willem Dafoe's daughter is kind of an outcast in among that culture. So you have all these characters who kind of circumstance and culture is imposing itself on their fate, on their lives, and they find themselves trying to resist it. It's a pretty good movie, is what I'm trying to say. Somebody gave a shit and took all these things into consideration. It's one of those things where it's like, even if you don't intellectualize it or put too much thought into it, when things aren't arranged just so, you notice their absence. And this movie doesn't have that problem thing.
Yeah, it's a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Like, it's a real, honest to God picture. And the thing is it doing anything groundbreaking that you've never seen before? No. But it's pulp action. It's like, and visually, it's very nice and very creative. So the film is a combination of Western elements, but also a little bit of sci-fi, with a whole heaping helping of like Roman influence. Oh, yeah. So we have airships that are flying around, but everyone, like, swords are still very, very common. People have cannons and guns, but it seems that for the most part, people are still using swords. So there's like deck-to-deck combat where like these big airships fly up next to each other, and there's boarding parties, and they all come aboard and they draw swords and they go at it. And like the armor is very Roman inspired, and the tribes that are kind of out in the middle of nowhere in the sticks kind of have like a bit of a Spartan thing going. Like, the reason why Willem Dafoe's daughter is such a big deal is there are no individual parents and children in the society. Essentially, all of them are hatched in eggs in these like safe areas in the sticks, and then all of the hatchlings are brought back and they are raised by the community. So to a point where they're like, they come back for harvest and they're like, 12 of them haven't hatched, and it's like, dispose of them. They aren't Thark. If they aren't strong enough to hatch, they aren't Thark. So they shoot all of them, all the ones that haven't hatched. But it's revealed later that it's like, oh, Defoe's wife kept this egg for herself. So she knows that this is her child, which is very controversial, very taboo. It's not how their culture works. So we have sort of these like more ancient ritual ideas, but all the Tharks have guns. All of them have these weapons. So it's like we have this combination of different cultures and different influences that make the setting feel unique and feel thought out and feel very neat and different from anything else, because you could not look at a frame from this film and be like, is that Star Wars? or is that like, is that Dune? Is that like some other movie? You would never mistake it. Never for a moment would you mistake it for a different franchise or a different film. It is very unique visually. And even if it's not doing anything groundbreaking from a storytelling perspective, listen, it's a time-honored tradition. It's a time-honored story that is told in a well-oiled way, and it holds its own.
Yeah, there's a lot to like here. And like just from a pure spectacle standpoint, there's several sequences that are executed very well. Again, you can tell that our director is very comfortable with storyboarding and plotting out the timing of these kinds of spectacle beats. Like the one sequence that I would argue could be mistaken for a Star Wars, specifically Attack of the Clones, is the Colosseum sequence. I mean, it's a Colosseum. There's a bunch of multi-limbed critters in the stands. Yeah, there's a little something there. But like the timing of that sequence and the stakes are all kept in a good balance. Like you have a good sense of the geography, you have a good sense of the capabilities of the monsters that they're sending out to fight our heroes. Like they take special care to have one of the monsters tear someone in half in front of them, like as kind of the opening move of the battle, where it's like, oh, that's what happens if they get a hold of you. So it's really important that Willem Dafoe not get grabbed by one of these things. And
earlier in the film, the idea, they are mentioned constantly, consistently.
White apes. White apes.
We do not, like, that's one of the reasons why they shoot the hatchlings. It's like, best not to leave them for the white apes. When Carter is brought to the Thark village, is it a baby white ape? Like, people, so there is white ape. What the hell is a white ape? What are they talking about? Apparently they're fierce. Apparently they're dangerous. What are they talking? Oh. That's a white ape.
Yeah, stuff. See, laying those breadcrumbs makes the payoff all the more interesting and fun. And also seeing John Carter cut loose with his essentially superhuman abilities. I will remind listeners and viewers out there that Superman didn't fly in his earliest days. He literally could leap tall buildings in a single bound. And John Carter, we actually get to see what that looks like on film. The effect is rendered quite well. They have a lot of fun with it. That sequence where he's literally like kind of getting his sea legs feels very Disney and feels very fun. It's like he can't even stand upright, like in adjusting to the gravity of the world. And they take their time showing him adjust to that. But then when you finally get to see him cut loose with it, they do a lot of interesting things with it. And they really play him up as kind of like a superhuman. Like there's a reason why the Tharks kind of regard him as a weapon, like a living weapon, essentially. Because when you see him fully cut loose, it's like, wow, he really is kind of a one-man army, honestly. Like he is superhumanly strong, and he just the ability to transport himself from one place to another so quickly and so readily using his jumping ability is regarded as like, whoa, that's a game changer. Also, like the technology, I liked the parallel, like you said, with the ships. I think the princess has a line where they're talking about ships, and he's like, yeah, our ships go on the seas, and she's like, ours go on light. like our ship, like we both have ships, we both have swords, we both have rifles. Things are just slightly askew. So we do have the equivalent of like naval combat, but it's in the sky instead of on the sea.
Well, and it's one of the things that occurred to me is that, and it was a really nice parallel in that scene, because they're kind of discussing back and forth the differences, and like when they realize, because it takes a little bit for Carter to realize he's not on Earth anymore.
Yeah.
And he's just like, you know, on this planet, he's like, this planet? And so they lay down rocks in a row to like make a rudimentary like solar system diagram, and they're like, oh, you're not from here. Like they name off like Mercury, Venus, and you know, she's saying the Martian names for each of them, and he's like, Earth. She's like, that is Jarsum. You are on Barsum. But there's a great moment, and you see it in the princess's eyes, where he's like so you arrived on a ship? No, our ships go on water. And you see it in her eyes, and he's like, endless water everywhere. And she kind of backs up like, his world is as fantastic as hers is to him. The idea of an ocean. The idea that we need ships to go on endless water, endless oceans. To a Martian, that is just as fantastic as sailing on light. And you see it in her eyes, and it's a small thing, and I'm like, that is really neat. That he is as alien to her as this whole world is to him. Because the very concept of oceans is something that is mystical in a place where standing water does not exist.
Yeah, that is a neat feat. Like, her character in general is pretty fun. She's framed as sort of a scientist, and her curiosity is kind of what drives her throughout a lot of it. Like, that's part of her attraction to him, that he's an endless font of interesting facts and mystery to her. And yeah, that exchange is a lot of fun. That bit where they go and they find that temple, essentially, that displays like the ninth ray to them. That was all really fascinating, and I really enjoyed her curiosity as a core character trait. Also, it's really handy having that also factor into the plot, where Mark Strong's whole conflict with her isn't just because she's a generic princess, it's also because she's rubbing up on a discovery that he's not especially happy with her having found. Like, the whole possession of the ninth ray as a concept and as a technology is a little bit of a hazy element of the plot, but it is shown as something that she is on the verge of discovering and perfecting, and he's like, "Whoa, no, we can't have that." It's like you're not only a political bargaining chip, but you're also curious in a direction that's harmful to our greater evil machinations. So it was a nice way to give her some utility in the plot beyond being, a political pawn form of pretty princess or whatever.
Yeah. And she has a little bit of the same thing that the Phantom had, where it's just like, wow, we have a female lead who is interesting, capable, and like actually propelling the plot forward in a way that I feel like we somehow forgot how to write good women characters.
Yeah.
Because
Go ahead, sir.
Never once in this film I'm just like, that feels pandering and unrealistic. I'm like, no, that's just who she is. That's just how this character is. She just feels very well-rounded, where it's just like, okay, she is a scientist and a pretty good swordsman. And she holds her own and she drives the plot forward, but it never feels pandering, and it never feels like it is at the expense of anyone else in the cast.
Oh.
Like, no, she is a... Yeah,
she good. Agency. They give her own agency. They don't have any moments where the movie stops dead to put its hand on its hip and say "girl power." Look directly into the lens and say, like, there is no "I am no man" moment or anything like that. But she does get to do a lot of cool shit, and it makes sense for the character. Like there's that bit where he's trying to save her, and then she finds herself with a sword in her hands, and kind of like, I don't even think any words are exchanged. It's just she has a sword and just starts going to town on people, and he's like, okay, I guess I don't have to worry about you. And I think it happens again, like in the big, like, pseudo finale. Like, it's the last major action beat in the movie. It's not actually the end of it, but during that last major action beat, kind of a similar thing happens, where it's almost like a welcoming reprise of what we saw in their first encounter. So it works really, really well. like that whole finale sequence is funny because we have like a ticking clock aspect of it, in that she's going to be married to Jigsaw, and their union is, going to seal the fate of Mars. So at that point, we would have to free Mars. And John Carter's trying to get there on time, and we see, through a bit of clever storyboarding and setup, like he flies into Helium, is the name of the good guy city on Mars. And we see that Jigsaw's goons are actually posted like right out front, ready to strike, like should they need to. And sure enough, in a few minutes they will. But he interrupts the ceremony and all that, and then the Tharks also roll in. We see that they are shitty pilots because, as Willem Dafoe says, Tharks don't fly. It was a fun bit that shows that it's like, well, they can. They really shouldn't. But, most of them survived, and I think most of them are, combat ready after that. But aside from the ticking clock aspect of it, which is really well set up by the score and the editing, like it does, like it instills in you, the viewer, like a sense of understanding. It's like, oh, okay, there is a ticking clock. It is important that he gets there at a certain time or whatever. When it comes to the actual violence and the battling, it's a foregone conclusion. Like I don't think a single hero goes down in the whole fight. It's just kind of like it's like closing the book on the conflict rather than like a tension-filled exchange, where it's like there's certain ways to stage these sort of things. There's different schools of thought you can bring to it depending on the kind of story you're trying to tell. And in this case, the story that they're trying to tell is that this is the unifying moment of the tribes of Mars. So it should be triumphant. Like this shouldn't be like oh my God, are they going to make it? It's like they shook hands. The Tharks are good with the Heliumites. Battle's won. It's just a matter of sorting out is it the Therns are the true villains? Is that their name? Yeah, it's just a matter of identifying and sorting them out, because they're kind of the saboteurs. Such that it almost feels like in a sequel, like in Empire Strikes Back, part 2 is it's the dark one, which means it's the good one. Like it kind of feels like that would be maybe where you put the tension, where you put like characters' lives at stake, and you put that sense of dread in the combat. Whereas this one, it's just kind of like the hardest part of the battle was actually just getting everybody to be on the same page. And now that we've achieved that, it's just like, we got this, and now we just get to watch cool shit happen.
Yeah.
I like that bit where James Purefoy is like showing the color of his robe. He's like, yo, purple's good. Like red bad, purple good. It's like, I know I'm James Purefoy. I know he's Kieran Hines, but I swear we're good guys in this movie. Like you wouldn't expect it, but we totally are.
Absolutely. I think I miss big movies made for adults.
I'm sorry, Levi.
I miss them. I'm like, because that's not to say that John Carter is in fact, high drama made for a complex audience. But it is a piece of mass market entertainment that does not talk down to its viewer and generally says they can take this.
Babies get shot in this movie.
Babies get shot in this movie. It's like, and they're not afraid to have an artistic moment. They're not afraid to be like, let's challenge you a little bit. Let's try and do that. Like, it has kind of a Bluthian sense of adventure in places where it's like, we're not afraid to make this threatening, but we will never go over the line to make it truly horrific.
Yeah.
And the sequence I'm referring to is that we kind of cut back and forth a handful of times to John wears 2 rings. He wears 2 rings on his left hand. One thicker, one thinner. And there is a moment of looking into the eyes. They are being pursued by an army that's been manipulated by Mark Strong. And essentially John is like, looks into the princess's face, and we've seen this a few times, of these flashback moments to John's past, of what we assume to be the last time he saw his wife and child. As his hair is shorn, it's much shorter, and we just see these glimpses of their faces. And he's seen this as he looked into the face of Defoe's daughter, and also in the princess as well. And we get more detail in this moment as he looks into her face for the last time and realizes, I have to head off this army. I have to stop them, and you guys have to get away. And so he leaves for war in that parallel, and over the course of this battle, as he wades in, and he's using his superpower, like he has the super strength in these 2 swords, and probably cuts down like somewhere in the triple digits of the opposing army. The sound drops out entirely, and we do cross-cutting between John wading like hip deep into the dead around him on Mars, and him coming home to his burned cabin in Virginia to the charred, burned bodies of his wife and child. And he buries them in a shallow grave, and there's this great crosscut of him like hacking down and hacking off the head of one of these warriors, and it's crosscut with him hitting the cross over the grave with the flat end of the shovel to drive it into the ground. And it's super well done, and it's very effective. And it's the kind of sequence that it's like, all right, we're going to do something real here. We are going to have a genuine, real emotion, and we are going to trust the audience to take this in. It's not artsy in a pretentious way. It is just using the strengths of film and Eisensteinian editing. We are going to use film and its strengths to give you this message of what is it that drives him. Earlier, when we first see the rings, it's when he's talking to Bryan Cranston. He's just like, whatever I owed this world, and he puts his hands on the bars, and we see the rings. I've paid in full. And it's like, so that concept in that war sequence is the culmination. You understand why. How, like, this is his lot in life. But also, we get that complete arc of like, and now he has an opportunity to be nobody's puppet by the end on Mars. On Barsoom, he can now make his own destiny. And it's like, and these are little things. This isn't subtext. This is text. It's all there on display for you to see as the viewer. It's not complex, but it's damn effective.
Yeah. No, it's a wonderful, pivotal moment in the story where you get to see him confront and kind of exercise those demons that go a long way towards explaining he essentially has no place on Earth. Like the army he represented is dissolved. He's forcibly being drawn into conflict with the people who he has no desire to be in conflict with. His family's gone, taken because he was absent and feels guilty for not having been able to protect them. The math adds up to a character who would welcome a new start, but this is kind of the gulf that needs to be crossed in order for him to actually turn the page and begin anew. Where it's like you get to confront a similar circumstance. They very intentionally placed daughters as part of his crew, being as he had to bury his own daughter. He has the princess, he has Willem Dafoe's daughter, both in tow, as people that he is trying to protect from the same circumstance that befell his original family. And then he wades into battle in this circumstance, and the score and just the primal energy that he's exhibiting in that sequence kind of spell out to you that's like, this is not a man who's expecting to survive this event, but then inexplicably he does. And then, like you said, it's like, oh, this is an opportunity. Like, we've actually confronted the trauma head on, and now it's like, well, you mean we can move forward from here on Barsoom? It's like, oh, well, it's a really amazing pivot point in the story where it's kind of been having like a bouncy flavor to it. It hasn't been overly dreadful, but in that moment it becomes very, very real, and the plot gains so much momentum after that. Really effective sequence. Thank you for painting that lovely picture, Levi. I want to ask you about the bookends. So not actual bookends, but we have the business with I think it's his nephew, Ned. That there's a section of it that is presented to us through a lot of narration from him of Ned going to John Carter's estate, who is supposed to be deceased at this point and locked in a crypt that only opens from the inside. We actually jump back to that in the closing moments of the film. By the way, that the actor I always think of as being from Father of the Year, I think it's called. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
I'm familiar. I haven't seen it.
I think that's the kid. It's Bobcat Goldthwait directed it, and Robin Williams stars in it. Very, very darkly comedic film, and the kid is a piece of shit. so every time I see this kid's face, I think of that. Anyway, what did you think of those sequences? In particular, I guess the way they chose to end the film.
I like it. I think it's neat. The only I just think it's neat. The only thing is that due to the structure of the film, because we get it at the beginning and at the end, there's no point in the middle.
Oh.
Where, like, I feel like it would have been a little better if, like, somewhere in the middle we had a checkpoint.
Yeah.
Where we would go back to it. Because essentially the pitch is Ned, Edgar Rice Burroughs, is informed of his uncle's untimely death. And this is after he receives a telegram signed from John. We see John send the telegram in the opening, as a matter of fact. So he is summoned to the house and and he sees all these artifacts, and, you know, his lawyer is like, it's like he was looking for something. And he's like, and this is his personal diary. He specifically said that you, and only you, were to read it. So then the end comes, and we come back to him like closing the diary and like, whoa, that's some crazy stuff, man. So the problem is, and it's the mystery of like, well, the crypt opens from the inside, like, and that's presented earlier on. And so the bookend at the end of the film serves as an answer to that mystery of like, well, why does it open from the inside? Well, essentially what it appears is that there's something about the medallions that only seems to transport the will and the mind, but not the body. So it needed to be kept safe. So So if he does end up coming back to Earth, his body essentially needs to be kept safe. So it's in this crypt. So that's sort of the answer to the mystery. The problem is that we are not reminded of that again. There's not a setup, reminder, payoff that we normally get in movies. So we have the setup and then the payoff at the end of the film. But by the time you get to the end of the movie, you've probably just outright forgotten that.
I kind of
like we cut back to Ned reading and you're like, oh yeah, that's how this movie started. And there's a crypt and okay, sure. I think it's fine, and I think it's a good setup, and I think it's kind of a fun idea. The problem is that it's a mystery that has no reminder in it, so it kind of comes as like a, oh yeah, this is what we're doing.
I liked it too. I thought it was a neat premise and executed pretty well. I agree. I would have appreciated a midpoint check-in just to be reminded that the story that we're seeing is supposed to be being absorbed by a character via journals, like in parallel to us watching the movie. Think like Never-Ending Story or something. Just cut back to Ned look into the book and be like, wow, that's some fucked up shit. I gotta take a shit. And then like he leaves and then the camera doesn't move. There's no cuts for like 3 minutes. You just hear like The Simpsons, and then you hear a toilet flush. 3 minutes pass. He comes back. He sits down. Okay, where was I? Back to Mars. Like just something cutting back to him. Maybe an interruption or something while he's reading. Something cute like that. Or maybe like you're watching the movie and they do like a Gremlins 2 thing. Or like, you know, in Gremlins 2, they have the thing where like the film reel like
put it back on, brother.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan yells at the Gremlins, something like that. Except maybe have like ink spill onto the frame, and then the kid's like, "Oh shit!" Like he just spilled a bunch of ink on the journal.
That'd be pretty funny.
I guess that wasn't that important. I hope it wasn't anyway.
Real missing.
Yeah, exactly. Like something like that maybe would have been cute, but it's fine without it.
Even having this idea of like he finishes a chapter and he's like, and he feels like an inexplicable draw to like read the rest of it in front of the crypt or something.
Yeah, that would have been nice too, to remind
like
the crypt is important.
Yeah, like, you know, and he goes and he kind of looks at it again and he like looks at the inscription at the top and he's like, and like sits down next to it to finish it.
Yeah, sits out front or something. Yeah, that could have been nice.
It's a little bit of a reminder of what we were doing.
I would have appreciated it, but it's okay without it. The other aspect of it that's unfortunate is that we have another ticking clock thing. We have kind of a neat setup where we're introduced to this idea that the Therns are holding vigil over the Carter estate and like kind of trying to track his movements, and they're trying to assassinate him essentially. And we have this like convergence point where Ned figures out the secret of how to open the tomb or the crypt just when an assassin is bearing witness to it and swoops in to try to take everybody out. And it's like, oh no, the bad guys are going to win. And then, of course, the surprise is that John Carter's already out of the crypt and he shoots the Thern before he can kill Ned. And that's like, well, he shot a Thern. He did not shoot the Thern. So it's like Mark Strong is still farting around out there somewhere. I'm sure a lot has transpired. There's just a lot of lingering elements that it's like, it's neat that we get the resolution and the assurance that John Carter will return to Barsoom. He will return to Mars. You know, new adventures await him there. But it's like, well, so the same bad guy's still out there somewhere. His lady love is out there somewhere. Like, we have no assurance what those adventures will be. We just know he now has the tool he needs to get back there in movies that we will never see. So it's like, it's a neat moment, but it's like, yeah, could have been more, I guess. So it's like it would land, I think, a little better if we had sequels, but we don't.
Yeah. And
It's fine.
yeah, it's like, and as is, I'm happy with what we got. I'm glad we got it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's one of those that in the Pulp pantheon, like, as far as like the other stringers here, like,
Fuck.
guys, I mean, like, Pulp cinema, you know, we now have a season of Pulp cinema with our break in between. Pulp cinema is one of those rather barren fields, and we got things here and there. It's like, oh, we got a good Zorro movie. We got like 2 good Zorro movies and a good TV show. And all the rest is like, let me tell you, I sat down with the 90s Zorro series that was on the Family Channel. I watched 6 episodes and I'm like, this is not good. I'm not a fan.
I haven't seen that. I did watch the pilot for the Spanish Zorro that came out very recently. It was all right.
Yeah. I watched the first 2 episodes of that and I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. And then I never got back to it. But yeah, that Family Channel one, it has the guy who played Dracula in Monster Squad as our lead. He's Diego.
See, I don't know that guy's name, but of course I know his face from Monster Squad.
Very angular.
Very Max Headroom.
Yeah.
Very tall head. He's got a tall head.
Yeah. And that's the thing. He's a good Diego. The problem is that the action in the series sucks. It's really not good. And you're like, because
it's foundational to Zorro, though.
it's like, listen, I'm not going to claim that the Guy Williams show was like some pinnacle of storytelling, but damn it, there were some really fun sword fights. And I'm watching 6 episodes of this show, and there is not one good sword fight in 6 episodes. I'm done.
That's like saying you watched Power Rangers and there was no morphin time in 6 episodes.
Dude, I'm like, there's no threat, like nothing's threatening, nothing's interesting. It's like, it's Zorro, and Zorro's like, hi guys, don't do that. And then he leaves.
It was the 90s. The 90s were a funny time because like horror movies were like more explicitly gory than kind of ever in fits and spurts. But when it came to like violence, there was a lot of censorship going on in like family programming in particular. Like that was when Michelangelo of the Ninja Turtles was stripped of his precious nunchaku. He was given a grappling hook, you see. No, that's not even a fucking weapon.
Yeah. A fellow chucker, eh?
Not anymore, because
No.
too many kids were brutalizing each other on the playground. So by the time you got to the 90s, those were banned. And, you know, Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze, Leonardo, he pulls out those swords, but he throws them into the ceiling, you see. And he uses them to grab hold of so he can donkey kick fuckers in the face. It was a weird time. Like, we were
Yeah.
simultaneously inundated with violence, but also like making an effort to scale it back. So I guess Zorro fell victim to that. It's like he doesn't have a sword anymore. He has a vicious finger wag though.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, it's not even that people don't lock swords in the show. It's just that the sword fights suck, and they're mostly played for laughs, and nothing's threatening. And it's just like, could we like have some actual entertaining like Come on, fellas.
Washes.
Yeah. And I've been watching through The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. to wash the taste out of my mouth because I'm like, I want good 90s Western television, damn it.
There you go.
Yeah, dude, that show got 4 seasons. I have no idea how that's possible. I don't know how a Zorro without good sword fights got 4 seasons. But
anyway.
But it's like, so we have, as far as good stuff goes, it's like, all right, so we got like 2 good Zorro movies and a good television show. For Tarzan, we have like
a billion
3 good movies.
Yeah, 3 of them good.
Yeah, like we got like three like genuinely good movies and all the rest. We got 1 good Conan. We have The Rocketeer. And then pretty much everything else, you're just like,
well, what's funny is like, I don't know like how large of an umbrella Pulp encompasses, but like, want to say like if we're talking like Jules Verne and Edgar Rice Burroughs and all that kind of stuff, or H.G. Wells, all that kind of stuff, like if you put that under that umbrella, things get a lot more interesting, and you get a lot of entertaining things, but I don't think especially like substantive or memorable, because like 1950s War of the Worlds, A+, fantastic, timeless, awesome story. You can remake that anytime you want, except with Ice Cube and Amazon Studios. Don't do that. But The Time Machine, I think it was the 1960s or perhaps 1950s.
Yeah.
I saw that movie when I was a kid. I liked it quite a lot.
Hell yeah.
The Guy Pearce movie, I don't remember being horrible. I remember it being less than, but still pretty good. And then you have like Ray Harryhausen kind of movies like Fantastic Island. You know, big fucking crab, big fucking bee, the big fucking animals. Like you know, that's cool. It's pulp. But I don't think anybody like would ever point to that and say it's like, that's fucking pulp and that's the best movie. That's the best pulp adaptation I've ever seen. It's like, it's good. It's entertaining. Also similarly, it's not, is it Journey to the Center of the Earth? No, it's At the Earth's Core.
Yes.
So there's 2 different ones. There's Journey to the Center of the Earth, which is a dignified production that a lot of people remember and love. And then there's At the Earth's Core, which is pulp trash. But it's entertaining. Folks, check out At the Earth's Core. It's good times. It is very much pulp now that I think about it. It's like you have ancient civilizations.
Oh, yeah.
You got boobs. You got flame toads. Fire toads. I love that fire toad. He shows up out. Fucker came out of nowhere. Yeah, that's core, folks. Look it up. It's great.
and that's the thing. What I guess when I think of like pulp cinema, I think of hero pulps.
Yeah. See, these aren't that.
Yeah, where it's like, okay, if we expand out and be like, well, it's classic tales from like the 1880s to like the 1940s. I mean, there's plenty. There's plenty of good stories. I mean, that's classic cinema as a whole. But as far as what we think of as like the hero pulps, in like the forerunner of the modern superhero, or at least the forerunner to like heroic or sword and sorcery fantasy, it's a rough field. It's a rough one. And we love what we can get, but most of it ranges from, well, that was pretty good, to that was unwatchable. Like, I'm willing to stand behind Doc Savage as remarkably interesting and something that I would show someone, but I couldn't actually recommend that somebody watch it individually.
Yeah, you need a buddy. There needs to be a buddy system for that movie. In particular, you get to that last act.
It's like, and sort of that big four in the 90s, I'm like, I can recommend that you watch The Rocketeer. Everything else comes with caveats.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And this Silver Age, the second push, it really is only John Carter.
It's funny because I almost saw Green Hornet solely because of Jay Cho. He plays Kato in it. He's a Taiwanese pop star. Very good musician. I was really into his music before that movie came out, but that was his Rumble in the Bronx moment, or was supposed to be. It's like Jay Cho is taking a swing at Hollywood and he's going back to Taiwan because it didn't work out. It's like when Rain from Korea did Ninja Assassin. It was supposed to be like, Rain's, he's coming. He's coming. It's back to Korea. it's like, get out of here, Rain. Nobody wants you here.
Yeah, it's a weird territory and weird ground to cover. And why do you think, and this is something I was thinking about coming over here, because it's like two things. Why do you think pulp adaptations like this almost universally do not do well? And two, do you think Disney will ever come back to making live action productions like this? Like, do you think we will ever come back to a point where Disney takes another swing at it?
I had to guess why they don't do well. Could be lack of marketability or iconography or something merchandisable that seems so very important to studios these days. Could be something like that. I don't know. I wouldn't imagine like a lack of universality in the storytelling or the representation would be a problem. Although maybe it is, because a lot of these stories tend to be of somewhat antiquated origins. I have to imagine like a lot of cultural familiarity is really, really foundational to like making these things like blow up and propagate. It's like Marvel Comics stuff and Star Wars, things like that. Like part of the reason why it propagates the way it does is because it almost like insists upon itself, where it's like the Wikipedia entry for any one of these characters is so very vast, and also they have the benefit of continuously having been published or represented in toy form, art, or they're just ever present. They're ubiquitous to an extent that, say, a Doc Savage isn't quite so much. You can't help but know what an Iron Man is. A Doc Savage, you might have to look it up on Google or something, be like, oh, that's what a Doc Savage is. As far as like taking another swing at it, I think there's always another season for everything. Like all it takes is the right idea, the right approach, and actual enthusiasm. But when you say like Disney backing it, that's harder to fathom, because Disney seems to be in like a very much like play it safe kind of mode. And also their bread and butter is when it comes to like family entertainment, their bread and butter is not so much like adventure cinema, like action slam bang thrillers and stuff. It's more like a lot of their family entertainment has to do with reflecting like contemporary contemporary issues and youth issues, like fitting in or self-acceptance, things like that. A lot of pulp heroes seem to be pretty solidly well formed as soon as they've been spat out the womb. It's like Doc Savage is. Whereas like a lot of like
black screen, white text.
Yeah, Doc Savage is. But whereas like a lot of Disney like family entertainment movies tend to be about like finding your place in the world, defining yourself, embracing yourself, things like that. Like more focused on relatability rather than like aspirational characters, I guess. Whereas like even the representation of like superheroes in contemporary media, a lot of it has to do with like pulling them down a bit and kind of taking the wind out of their sails. It's like Captain America isn't perfect. He is very fallible. He doesn't have a read on every angle of every situation. He is inherently good, inherently trying to do good, but he is a flawed character. He's a flawed hero. So anyway.
I think that's a very good point, because so much of and it's something that I've considered, and I've said these things before, but it's never like come into clarity in this way. Old characters and old heroes specifically, almost all of them are forces of nature. Like, and it's one of the reasons why they need teams around them, is because like Doc isn't human. Like Doc is built like something else, and he's like this weird guy who can't really talk to people and is like trilling when he thinks, and is built like a Greek god and can do everything. So you kind of need Monk and Ham fighting each other behind the scenes. You kind of need Johnny, like, and his some of his like physical weakness, but is like trying to figure out. We kind of need to put him in peril in order to like latch on. The Shadow is even more so, because like the Shadow's not even on Front Street. There's not even like hey, it's Clark Savage Jr. It's just like, we don't know what the hell the Shadow is. Because Lamont Cranston is a put-on. Kent Allard might be a put-on as well. Gibson goes into detail in the novels that it's like, we don't even know if the Shadow has a face. Like, there's a moment in one of the books where it's you know, in the Shadow's sanctum, a single light bulb turns on in front of a mirror, and hands move and start applying like plasticine and makeup and everything. And they never describe, they essentially just say it's a lump of flesh underneath. Like, the Shadow is like either hideously deformed or like something happened, but at this point, we don't really know who he is. Kent Allard might be an answer. Lamont Cranston certainly isn't. But we just know that the Shadow knows. And he's there. And he's there to destroy whatever's in front of him. But he can't be everywhere, so he needs hands. He needs agents. And a lot of the story comes from the agents. Like, the Shadow is unknowable. And Gibson wrote it, the way he puts it is, I wrote the Shadow as if I myself was discovering him. The Shadow is unknowable. But Harry Vincent isn't. Harry Vincent's just a guy who gets pulled into this adventure, who gets pulled into all of this. Hawkeye Pierce is not... Hawkeye Pierce is from MASH. Just Hawkeye. It's just Hawkeye. Hawkeye is just a guy as well. And it's like all of these different agents are just people. And a lot of the discussion in the novels is like, what do you think the Master is? What do you think's going on there? How does he know when to shut? And they're like, I don't know. Listen, Burbank gets the communications. He tells us to do stuff. I don't freaking know. And it's like, even then, a character like John Carter is human and has conflicts and has problems, but it's like, he is a hero. He enters the story as a hero. And there's something very interesting about those types of characters where, and I would argue DC is very much like this, where Stan Lee's whole ethos was, it's the world outside your window, true believers. Like, we want characters with problems. And that tends to be what people gravitate toward, because, and it's shown in sort of the cognitive dissonance in the writing of a character like Batman, where we can't seem to decide if Batman is a force of nature like the Shadow, or if he's a guy in a bat costume. We can't seem to decide, and writers seem to go back and forth on it. And it's the same thing with Superman. Is this a boy from Kansas who can lift a train, or is this a god with the world on his shoulders? And it's that push and pull where the Pulp characters pretty much come in one form, which is they're forces of nature. And as soon as you try and tweak that, it doesn't feel correct. The character is no longer the character.
I don't want to go too like at length about this, but like as you were talking, I was thinking like I have to imagine a lot of it has to do with the times, but also the character and the intent of the author, because a lot of pulp stories, a lot of them were published in magazine short form, and a lot of people were trying to get paid and feed themselves, so a lot of stories had to be put out quickly on a regular schedule, and like in order to keep the lights on, things like that. And you also had a lot of authors who were intensely prolific, who, you know, you have certain examples like I don't remember who is the author of Doc Savage's stuff.
That would be. Oh my goodness. Anyways.
Anyway, I remember you telling me, because I didn't know much of anything about Doc Savage, but when we reviewed that movie, I remember you telling me he was a Renaissance man. Like he was kind of, he wore like every hat you could. He lived a really amazing, accomplished life. That's in one corner. Like that's a man of adventure who may or may not have bared some sort of resemblance to the character he was representing in fiction. But then you also have people like H.P. Lovecraft, warts and all, and Conan author. Sorry, his name escapes me at the moment.
Robert E. Howard.
As far as I understand, a very troubled individual.
Yeah.
Really, really troubled individual, actually. You have people like that who are writing to address something within themselves, to express something that's coming from within. In Conan's case, it's like this is like a character and a world that is leagues apart from the one that this author inhabits, but one that in some fashion needs to be expressed from him. And then, so I have to imagine there's like something to do with like the authorial intent or the character, the person putting pen to paper, where it's like, I want to see this man of action who has very few flaws, who gets shit done, who is unknowable, all these things that perhaps I myself do not possess, and this is a form of wish fulfillment or something. You head into like the 1960s and the 80s and things like that, or basically the 60s up until now, and society at large is very cynical. That whole world outside your window thing that Marvel represented, in contrast to like say DC Comics and things of that nature. It started out as a mission statement of sorts, but it's never gone away. In fact, it's expanded to such an extent that's like just the idea of a hero, I think, is controversial these days, because every conflict has angles to it. Every conflict has different sides weighing in on different aspects. But So I don't know. That was a lot of rambling, but just some thoughts that came to mind while I was listening to you.
No, and I think that's a fantastic angle on it. And I do feel that the divide in thinking is actually displayed very well in this movie. And because it's something that when I heard it, I was very surprised, where I was like, this is the difference in this type of storytelling. And I do need to start wrapping it up here soon. So this is probably the last point I'll make.
Yeah.
There's this big, it's the big pitched battle, sort of like end of the first act, and they're bringing out, because multiple airships crash and are destroyed, and they're bringing out the bodies of the dead, and the crew, the helium crew, in their blue robes and armor, are brought out, and the princess looks at them, and they're in a pile, all of these dead men and women. And Carter is like, war's a misery, isn't it? Pretty senseless. And she turns and says, not when it's in a worthy cause. That is a very old way of thinking. And that is something that no Hollywood writer would ever express. It's like, it's the kind of thing, like, because Kipling touched on this idea, like it's a very old world idea, and it's that balance of the two things that Lewis talks about, the idea of unenchanted, enchanted, disenchanted, re-enchanted. And he uses the example of a bicycle, of prior to riding a bike, you don't know what it's all about. Enchantment is feeling the freedom and the fun of riding a bike. Disenchanted is like in your teen years, when it brings you to work and you're on a schedule and it's too slow, and it becomes associated with the transportation of your responsibility. But it's to a point where you say, all the things that I felt when I first started riding must be fake. And it must be a lie, and it must just be youthful optimism or whatever, because this is miserable, because it's a means to an end now. But re-enchantment is discovering later in life that it's both. That the joy of riding a bike is there, and it's pleasurable, and it's fun, but it does also connect you to things. And Lewis uses the same example in war. The idea of war is senseless, horrible misery in Unenchanted. Enchanting is seeing the honor and the courage and the bravery and the fighting for a worthy cause. Disenchanted is experiencing it and realizing the horror and the awfulness of it. Where re-enchantment is coming somewhere in the middle. War is a misery and it's senseless, but not when it is for a worthy cause. And it's an older idea. It's an older way of looking at things that is probably closer to a truth. And it's those kinds of mindsets that make the story very different from what we get. Because in most modern storytelling, war is just what John said. It is the voice of disenchantment. And one of the things Lewis talks about is the idea that you have to be careful, because the voice of the unenchanted can sound quite like the voice of the disenchanted. And I feel that is the case in a lot of modern writing, where there's a lot of people that discount the old ways and discount conflict and discount all of these other things because they've never felt it. They've never been in the midst of it. But we do hear it in a similar fashion as disenchanted instead of unenchanted. But John Carter and Edgar Rice Burroughs and this subject matter and this material come from a time of when the world was still wild and things were still unpredictable, and the heroes were big and grand. And a lot of these men saw the craziness of the world around them, and not only saw the chaos, but the beauty in it. That they saw not only the violence and the horror, but the nobility and the honor of it. And I think that those attitudes can come back, but I think it is an attitude that puts them at odds with the way that we tell a lot of modern stories. And it's something that appeals to me about these characters. It's something that appeals to me about these stories. But we are in a culture and a wider public that is either unenchanted or disenchanted. And I think that these stories may be able to come back either when a new generation becomes enchanted or the older generation is blessed with a re-enchantment.
Well said, sir. Thank you for sharing. I'm not about to try to follow that. So this will be when we wrap up our conversation. I do actually have to pick up a cake for tonight.
I have to get a barrel.
I think I win, Levi. But yeah, that being said, this has been our discussion of John Carter from 2012, as directed by Andrew Stanton, and also draws to a close our a very sprawling, certainly more than 1 month long Pulp Cinema Month project. It's been a blast. Thank you for proposing it. It's always nice to have an excuse to pull the trigger on movies that I otherwise wouldn't. Doc Savage was very much a gift that I didn't know was out there. And this movie, like I said, just for its place in cinema history, like as a box office flop, I always had curiosity, and now I've confirmed it's not a bad movie, not in the slightest. It fell prey to very poor marketing and a lot of circumstance. Have to keep in mind also that this movie was coming out like when Disney was talking to Lucasfilm, like Star Wars was being acquired as this was coming out. It's like, do we really want to compete against ourselves with this John Carter business when we have fucking Star Wars, the surest bet there ever was? Anyway, John Carter, decent movie. I have no problem with it. Kind of glad I watched it, actually. But before we go, hey, Levi, how about you let our listeners and hopefully viewers know where they can find you and your YouTube stuff? You actually put out a video not too long ago.
Yeah, you can find me over on Your Captain Speaking, and you can get more doses of me, like that last little bit of me rambling about philosophy and how it relates to the book about the super strong man hitting aliens.
On Mars.
On Mars. So I talk about what I deem men's action fiction, so sort of like what we've been talking about this whole month. So hero pulps, we've done Conan, we've done Elric of Melniboné, we've done Philip Marlowe, Zorro, we've done all of these different characters. All of these books are like 200 pages or less. And it is essentially my project and my plea to a lot of guys out there where it's just like, hey guys, get back into reading. Here's something easy, fun, feels fresh because nobody's doing it anymore, and you'll have a blast with it. The most recent video I put out is actually a movie review about a movie we talked about here on the podcast, 1972's The Wrath of God, and why you should be watching it, because we don't know how long we'll be able to keep watching it due to its like flux in distribution. So check all that out.
Yeah, definitely check out Levi's channel. He does wonderful work. The passion that he exhibited there in his closing spiel, his closing speech. You can find in all of his videos. So definitely check out Your Captain Speaking YouTube. As for myself, the podcast is called Catching Up on Cinema. You've been listening to it and or watching it. You can find it pretty much anywhere podcasts are found, as well as on YouTube. And occasionally, monthly, try to do live streams. So feel like, please, by all means, jump in, type obscene messages in the chat. Perhaps I will address them, perhaps not. But that being said, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
That is